What's up, family? Third time. Some don't want me to make this video today, but we're gonna get it done somehow. We have a real serious conversation with you guys today about something that every one of us think we already know, but the great majority of us really don't. And that's effective communication and why we respond, react the way we do. Years ago, I had printed out a book, the Master Key System. I had downloaded online and printed out a version of it. And I was reading it, and I was like, man, this book is so bad. I love this book. And to today, it's probably one of the most profound books I've ever read. One of my favorite books, The Master Key System by Charles F. Hannah. The book was originally printed, I want to say, like in 1916. And so I was trying to get my wife at the time to read the book. And I was telling her, man, this is an awesome book. You got to check this book out. This book is freaking bad. She didn't want no parts of it. Didn't understand why I was reading the book, wasting my time. We'll do it. I was taken back. I was kind of mad that she reacted that way. So, I didn't realize at the time that animosity and bitterness has started to creep in at that very moment. I'll say again, because she reacted the way she did to me just trying to get her to read this book, animosity and bitterness towards her started to creep in at that very moment. Fast forward, we're talking about communication. Years later, she bought this book right here. This exact book. This was her book. The Master Key System by Charles F. Hannah. And she started reading the book. Excuse me, this wasn't hers. But she bought one just like this. And she's buying a bunch of books for all her loved ones. And she's telling all her friends about this book. And so I'm carrying all these packages in. They're all from Amazon. I'm like, I didn't order nothing. And so they're all for her. And they're all these books. And so I'm like, I'm glad that you bought, you bought that book and you're reading that book. I said, it's a bad book, huh? And she just looked at me. And she's like, what are you talking about? I said, that's the book I was trying to get you to read like years ago. And she was like, no, you didn't. I said, yeah, I did. She's like, no, you didn't. You always want credit for something. That stung. Remember my bitterness and my animosity. What she said just stung. And so I just looked at her and I turned and walked. And I got this black binder that I had the book in. Brought it back over to her. Opened it up. And I showed it to her. I said, look, the Master Key System, Charles F. Hannah. It's the same book. It's just, my version was just, I downloaded it on the internet and printed it out. But it's the same book, same one I was trying to get you to read. She was like, whatever, you just want credit. My bitterness and animosity. When she said that, she said, I always want credit for something. My ego processed that. And because of my bitterness and animosity towards her, what I heard from my ego, this is her talking, you just want credit for something and whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. What my ego is telling me is, you suck. You're always trying to look for validation. You're not going to get it because you suck. You're not worthy of validation. You're not worthy of love. That's what my ego told me. That's what I received. That's not what she said. But through the filters of my head and all of my insecurities and my issues with her, that's what I received. We're talking about communication, effective communication, and why we don't have it. See, the great majority of us, we talk. Or we could write, we could say what we want to say. And we feel as though we're expressing ourselves. And when people communicate with us, we feel as though, okay, I'm listening to you and I'm repeating back to you what you said. And although you're able to repeat back to them what they said word for word, that's not what you really received. Because again, when someone communicates with us, especially when there's issues there, it doesn't even have to be issues. When there's feelings and when there's emotions there. Okay? And the trip is, one person can have pure intent, and the other person, they're going to receive it. They may have the intent to hear what you're saying, but they don't understand that everything that you're saying is being filtered through their self-esteem, their low self-esteem, their self-hatred, their anger, their insecurities, all the other stuff that they got going on in their life, in their subconscious thoughts. And so you're saying this right here, but what they're receiving through this jungle from the ego is you suck and blah, 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 blah. And you haven't said anything about that. But that's what they receive. Because they haven't learned to bring their ego under control. They haven't learned to sit there and say, okay, well, you know what? All this stuff right here, all this garbled, jungled madness up here, I got to be able to filter. I got to be able to zigzag and weave my way through this mess to reach the message without all these other filters and all these other attachments jumping on the bandwagon and now discombobulating the message. Effective communication and why we don't have it. When she told me that I wanted to be validated, or when she told me that I just wanted credit, and she never gave me credit. And when she told me that, my ego kicked in. My insecurities stood up. My defensive nature stood up. Effective communication and why we don't have it. So often, we may have pure intentions of having effective communication, having a heart-to-heart, open dialogue, conversation with someone we love, someone we care about. But if we don't deal with our feelings, if we don't deal with our thoughts up here, all the stuff that's been there for years, it's going to be extremely hard for us to have an open and honest dialogue about intimate things because of all this stuff up here. And so now we look at this person as being antagonistic. We look at this person as possibly being the enemy. We look at this person as being a foe. When in reality, they're just trying to help us. We look at this person and we're pissed off at this person for triggering us. That word, trigger. We look at this person for triggering us. and they triggered all these feelings, all these emotions, and now we react to those feelings and those emotions, and we're thinking we're responding to the message. But in reality, we're reacting to the triggers. We're reacting to the pain, the insecurities, the fear of the emotions that we have within our head. My hope and prayer is that every one of you get this book. Get this book, Master Key System by Charles F. Haanel. I'm going to read just a couple things in it real quick. Part 1, I'm going to read paragraph 2 and 3. Real short, extremely short. Paragraph 2. Mind is creative, and conditions, environment, and all experiences in life are the result of our habitual or predominant mental attitude. I'm going to read that again. Mind is creative, and conditions, environment, and all experiences in life are the result of our habitual or predominant mental attitude. Paragraph 3. The attitude of mind necessarily depends upon the attitude of mind necessarily depends upon what we think. Therefore, the secret of all power, all achievement, and all possession depends upon our method of thinking. Let me read paragraph 3 once more. The attitude of mind necessarily depends upon what we think. Therefore, the secret of all power, all achievement, and all possession depends upon our method of thinking. This is what I do in my books. If I really like them, I'll highlight them and underline them and everything. Small prayer. Get this book, Master Key System. It'll completely transform your life. Second thing, while you're waiting on your book to come in, you have to do the mental work. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. You have to go in and start to understand why you think the way you think. And stop getting defensive and stop getting angry because people are saying things and doing things that you don't like. You have to be able to talk about those things. You have to be able to express yourself without going left, without getting on one and getting disrespectful or whatever the case may be. You have to be able to have those types of dialogues to where you can process and understand and effectively communicate and receive communication. I love you guys. Peace.